minds of millions.
Today marks the 7th anniversary of the day our world was broken. It lives forever in our hearts.
Ease the pain of grieving families.
Daddy, we miss you and love you.
Tonight, a nation pauses to remember.
I heard a vibration. It sounded like an airplane, but also sounded like a bomb.
Every day, 9/11. The towers she captured with her camera a few days before. The moments she spent at her desk on the 95th floor of Tower 2.
What I really love is the fact, Willard, that I had the time to spend with them. And it was their time to go. But when it comes closer to the anniversary every year, I think back on the great times that we spent together.
To draw on our own powers to overcome tragedy, setbacks.
Anybody who has any type of tragedy in their life, whether it be sickness, whether it be loss of job, loss of a loved one, I connect with them as if to say, you have experienced your own 9/11.
Meeting shortly after 9/11, transferred her to South Florida. 3 months later, they were engaged.
You got to seize the opportunity, I guess. We don't feel like there's anything we can't.
We want to show people how their own strengths, not ours, but their own strengths can lead them to pursuing their own destiny, whether it be in relationships, in work, whatever that they pursue to do in their life.
A life for her in the morning hours of September 11th, 2001.
Every single opportunity that came before me after that day, I took. Every door that opened, every person, the one person who I fell in love with.
Instincts pushed her toward the stairs, but a coworker pulled her into an elevator with dozens of others. Together, they descended.
I said, should I go back upstairs? I questioned my actions at that moment.
But downward.
And as soon as I walked out of the building, that was when I heard the roar of another airplane engine.
Tower 2 had been hit.
I didn't run. I stood there in complete shock for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes.
Flash forward 10 years, preparing for her first journey back to ground zero. Now an author, a motivational speaker, and an entrepreneur. Others face their biggest fears, even though until now she wasn't ready to face her own.
I still was not able to actually walk even past where they were starting to reconstruct the building. I knew in my heart that I just was not ready.
She is ready now, September 11th, still learning, she says, how to live life after.
There would be some type of relief. The only thing was that I felt personally that I didn't find any relief.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Had waited so long to hear. The memories of 9/11 are never far away. She was at her desk on the 95th floor of the World Trade Center. Her camera captured images of the towers where she worked. Seeing everybody in such a panic, I said to myself, if our country really is being attacked, then we have to do something. We have to make a difference. Now, one year told us one thing that doesn't change is the pain for so many. It didn't change anything. It didn't change the fact that people had been gone. Security experts say South Florida's airports, ports, and diversity make us a symbol of terrorism. But we all can move forward from that symbolism by just being ourselves and just knowing that we can move on from any type of tragedy.
I was able to get out of the building by taking the last elevator before the second plane hit Tower 2.
Former New Yorker and now Floridian was working on the 95th floor of Tower 2 in September 2001. Now she wears a bracelet engraved with the names of her co-workers who died that day. Her to inspire others as
it can still move on from this kind of tragedy and still remember them in a way that will always be.
So I am originally from New York City, and my background was finance, and so my background consisted of growing up in New York City, learning finance when I was a teenager, and that actually led me to having a job that was located in the World Trade Center. Sure. So, as many people know, that day I took the elevator to the elevator I went to my desk, put my briefcase and purse down, and a guy that I was dating called me, and he said, "How's your work day going?" And I broke up with him a couple weeks before, so I said, "It's fine. I don't want to talk. I have to go." As soon as I hung up the phone, I heard the roar of an airplane engine, and then a boom, and then someone said a plane just hit Tower 1. I didn't know what to do. I remember grabbing my purse, grabbing my briefcase, and running towards the stairs. My coworker Lori, who I never spoke to, she was working on the other side of the floor, she grabbed me. She pulled me into the elevator. She said, "You're not taking the stairs." And I said, "But in an emergency, you take the stairs." She said, "No, come with me in the elevator." We descended to the 90th floor, and that's where the legal offices and everybody was. It was pandemonium. It was people were crying, people were screaming, and only one other person came into the elevator with us, elevators. And I remember one person saying, "There's no more people. You can't come in. You can't come in." And usually for Liberty Street, the other side of the World Trade Center, I walked the other way, and as soon as I got to the lobby, I saw one of my coworkers go into the elevator. I pulled her out and I said, "Don't go in there." Port Authority announced that there was nothing wrong with Tower 2, so everybody should be going back to work. That's what she heard, and that's why she walked into the elevator, and I pulled her out. I said, don't go in. I walked out of the lobby, and that's when the second plane went into Tower 2. I saw people on the street. A lot of them were crying. A lot of them were bloody. Like some of the people, I actually saw some people jump from the higher floor. So in my mind, I'm thinking that could have been a coworker. So walking, I thought, did I die too? I didn't know if I was dead or alive. Actually, I couldn't see the difference between death and living at that point. So I was like a zombie, pretty much just walking towards the South Street Seaport, like it was going to collapse on us, even though it was like a few blocks away. But obviously, it did not fall. But the debris just came. I was covered in silver debris. I remember that day so vividly because it's so poignant in my life, and because I live here again, all of the memories are starting to come back. So that was the day when I came to my mother's house. She came home 15 minutes later. My whole family thought I was dead. Nobody could get in touch with me. My brother was actually planning my funeral because he thought that I was dead. He saw the second plane collapse, the second tower collapse, and he was like, "I have to plan her funeral." Yeah. So both yoga and meditation, the peace that I found within myself helped me deal with the trauma, the post-trauma that came from 9/11, because every time I would hear something, every time I would smell something, it would trigger, like burning rubber. It would just give me a sense of, oh my gosh, like it's happening again. Yeah. But meditation, keeping me in the present moment, that actually helped me through every single time that I was dealing with a traumatic event or having these traumatic thoughts. So it was helpful because it was keeping my mind in the present. Yeah. And even though I know that happened, I'm safe right now. Yes. Going to the memorial is something I don't do unless there's someone in my family who's visiting from out of state or out of the country. They want to come because they want to see basically what I went through. They want to get a glimpse of them after work. They were my good friends. And to see them gone within a second, and then your life just changes. So I won't go to the Freedom Tower. My best friend is also a 9/11 survivor, and she won't go either. We just have a thing where we know that the World Trade Center was there. That was our workplace. The Freedom Tower is just another building, but the memorial is what's most important to us. I remember saying to myself after 9/11 is that not one opportunity that was going to come at me, I was not going to open that door. So if I was offered to start training people on how to sell to real estate agents. In doing that, I realized, wait a minute, I can make a business out of speaking to people, and that's how I became a keynote speaker. A lot of my speeches were about 9/11, but it was also about empowerment and living in the moment. And that actually prompted me to start writing. And so the writing, we should write a book, came about. The yoga teaching, I just wanted to give myself, I wanted to provide a service to others with something that I was knowledgeable about. And that's how teaching yoga came into play, because I've been practicing for so long. I found that teaching yoga takes everything away from my own hurt and using my ability to share my knowledge with others as a gift. My message is that in our lives, at some point, we can experience our own 9/11. We can experience so much loss in our lives. It could be loss of a job, loss of a loved one, loss of something, and you feel so dead inside. It happens to all of us, and we never are alone in our experiences. There's always someone out there who at least can understand what you're going through. And that is the message, that we are never, ever truly alone in our thoughts, in our actions, in how we feel about ourselves. There's always someone who's also feeling that same way.